I have another device here called a Meshtastic. So Meshtastic is something that's up and coming right now.
Yep.
So I have this device, and this is a LoRa. So again, we have two antennas here. This device here is receiving messages from all the hundreds of mesh devices in the Las Vegas area. If you can imagine hundreds of devices sending LoRa signals being picked up through these little antennas, going through this connection, and as you mentioned earlier, the secret sauce from AWS is in here.
Hello ipXchange, we are again at the Arduino event looking at how Arduino is embedded into industrial systems and how they solve problems that nobody else can. So, we've stumbled across a little known startup called AWS, which I think stands for Amazon Web
Services.
Right.
AWS, yes.
Excellent. Okay. So you're working with Arduino. So tell us what you do with Arduino at AWS.
Yep. So, hi, everybody. My name is Achana Samanathan from AWS. I'm a worldwide specialist in our IoT group. I'm the smart home tech lead, moving over now to the Edge AI tech lead. So, working with a lot of edge devices. And as you mentioned, I do work with Arduino. Been working with them for about 1.5 years now. I really enjoy the relationship. And we have some demos here specifically with them.
Please show us.
And I just kind of talk through some of the things we have here. So, on this side, we have a lot of LoRa devices. If you're familiar with LoRa or Long Range Wireless Access Network, is LoRaWAN.
Let's just start from the beginning.
Okay. Sure.
You're all about getting data from the edge, integrating your software, your platform, taking the data, and then getting it up into your cloud services system.
Correct.
That's what this is all about.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
So from an IoT perspective, the Internet of Things, we have lots of things out here. So the idea is for different types of things.
Different scenarios going on here. So what you're showing is the flexibility for Edge AI.
Yes.
Lots of people, because obviously with Edge AI, they're talking about processing on the edge.
That's correct.
Not necessarily moving data up through the channel into the cloud using AWS. So they may not automatically have thought of AWS as being a solution for them.
Right.
So this is showing how you can do Edge AI computing.
Correct.
And use AWS to integrate that to get the data and analyze the data.
You should be one of our spokespeople, I'm telling you. So you've summed it up exactly. One thing I would add is connected edge intelligence, right? So all these devices are connected to the cloud, and at the edge, there's sometimes where you want to do different types of processing at the edge versus doing it in the cloud. And I can kind of talk you through some of those use cases.
So you're doing it on system?
Depending.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for example, we'll start over here. We have a LoRa gateway here. It's a LoRa gateway from Arduino and Rack Wireless. So the partnership there, I use that gateway specifically for some LoRa use cases. What we have here is a simple LoRa button, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this type of device, believe it or not, can go out about a mile, mile and a half from this gateway and still have communication.
Right.
That's a long range.
It's a long range.
So if I press this button, of course we're close by here, immediately gets a response back here. So that message went from here to the gateway to the AWS IoT Core for LoRaWAN service that we have and did something, registered that 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 was pressed. We also have another gateway here, a device for gateway. This is a LoRa device that has a solar panel on the top, has a GPS receiver here, and a temperature and humidity. So these devices right now are in this building. Obviously, it's very close here, but this can go out about 5 to 10 miles away from this gateway and still have communication. So if you look on this map over here, this is the building that we're inside right now, and you can see there's 3 devices here, 1, 2, 3, being registered. So the GPS signal is coming down here. We know what the GPS signal is. It's sending it to this device right here, the LoRa gateway, sending it back to AWS IoT Core. And then from there, it's being shown on a map here through AWS location services.
So in that sense, AWS is embedded inside the devices, so that it's all compatible. That's what's going on there.
The communication, yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we're using standards from the LoRa perspective that Arduino and Rack Wireless has given. We're taking that data that you talked about earlier, and whatever that data is, sending it to IoT Core in the AWS system. And in this particular case, there's a map that was shown here. So the map is showing, where the location is.
Some other examples?
So here we have the Arduino Opta right here. So you've seen some of those things here. So I don't have it directly connected here. I simply have it here to show how easy it is to program a device like this, where you said you're a novice, right? So you can program something very basic. I have it here, simply you press the button, and it's doing a binary counting. So for example, we have 4 different lights here. So it's counting here. So that's representing, we'll let it start over here. So it's going up to 15. So it's going 1. Oh, let me press it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a binary count. Just kind of show a very simple example that through this device.
It's a control unit.
It's a control unit for
Yeah.
industrial services.
Yeah.
I have another device here called the Meshtastic. So Meshtastic is something that's up and coming right now.
Is that not a made-up name? It's Meshtastic. That sounds like a 1970s London DJ. That's Meshtastic, that is.
Yes.
Brilliant. Go on, carry on. Sorry.
No problem. This is from one of our partners, Seed Studio, and that's an NVIDIA device, so NVIDIA Jetson device here.
Yep.
So I have this device, and this is a LoRa. So again, we have 2 antennas here. This device here is receiving messages from all the hundreds of mesh devices in the Las Vegas area. Okay, so if you can imagine hundreds of devices sending LoRa signals being picked up through these little antennas, going through this connection, and as you mentioned earlier, the secret sauce from AWS is in here. So we have a communication to the cloud from this device, right?
Yep.
So when it goes from here, you can see all these messages right now. These are Meshtastic messages that will be showing on this big screen right here.
Go on, say it again.
Meshtastic.
Go on, say it again. Go on.
So you can see all these different messages are coming from hundreds of devices around the Las Vegas area, being picked up through these tiny little antennas on this gateway here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these are used, and this is the form factor for the productized version. So these are used by our Amazon disaster response service, where unfortunately when they go out to help people in a disaster setting, they have to take these devices and set them down sometimes, in a house or a building that's been like collapsed or something. They need first responders to come there and locate that device.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So through the messaging and through the map that I showed earlier, that can happen.
Yeah. So in people working in industrial applications,
Mm-hmm.
You've got a whole sense of sensors out. You've got things like this hub here.
Yep.
You've got this control unit here. This Meshtastic
Yes.
system here.
You're going to be saying that all the time now.
Yeah. So what's in common with all of those is obviously AWS, who normally an embedded design engineer working in IoT would think, I'm doing my system solutions on the edge, on system.
Right.
Wouldn't automatically think of AWS as a solution. The 2 common things here are AWS and Arduino.
Mm-hmm.
So why was AWS and Arduino why are they such a common theme here, these different applications? Why are Arduino and AWS such a compatible combination to give a solution that a normal design engineer working in IoT wouldn't automatically think?
Mm-hmm. So I would key off on what you said, a normal design engineer, right? So a lot of people moving from the industrial side to the cloud side, they're beginners, right? So we go out of our way to make the heavy lifting on the AWS services as easy as possible for customers to get involved. And I think Arduino does the same thing. So somebody who's novice that's just getting into tinkering, but then they have a real world application that they need to solve. So they have these devices, these embedded devices from Arduino that they can, start prototyping, get connected to the cloud, right?
Yeah.
And then once this data, as you mentioned earlier, is in the cloud, they can do anything they want with that. So from the AWS side, you can have machine learning protocols, you can have a database, a storage, whatever you want to do with that data, we can make that work in the cloud, right? And we make it as easy as possible. So between Arduino and AWS together, I think it's a perfect match, if you will, a partnership there.
Meshtastic, could I had to get in again?
Yes.
What's the Arduino-tastic thing that makes that? We understand your bit, little startup, never heard of, AWS. What's the Arduino bit of that then? Because these are all different. So there's a reason.
Yep. The reason is, so Meshtastic today is a mesh, right? So not
just that, just across the board, there's a reason. I know that you explained that.
Yeah.
Normally in these industrial, that people learning, that all of a sudden they're thinking, all of a sudden somebody's asking me to get something, because you said beginners or however we describe it, or normal,
right?
Normal design engineer, industrial, trying to get the data off. There's a reason why now you've explained why they choose AWS.
Yes.
What's the reason about Arduino though? Explain why you've partnered with Arduino to do that.
So I think we partner with Arduino because they give so many devices across their ecosystem for industrial, for smart home, for automotive, even in some respects.
It's a real modular approach.
It's very modular. Yeah.
Whatever this is, you can find an Arduino that will partner with you.
Yes.
Get it from the system up to the cloud.
Exactly. So I would safely say, to answer your question more directly, regardless of what the use case is, there's probably an Arduino device that you can get started with, along with the AWS cloud. So regardless of what type of startup environment, what type of new application there is, there's a path there between the edge devices and the cloud.
Yeah. So we talked about normal design engineers. This is just the last question.
Sure.
How easy is it for somebody that's working in industrial automation at the moment, or this kind of communication system that hasn't had before to understand I need to get it off device into the cloud?
Great question. So I started working with Arduino just on my own before I
You
even
didn't
came.
ask the question, but you knew what I was going to ask. Go on.
So with the Uno device, so the Arduino Uno, I think it was a Uno 3 back in 2015, 2016. So basically putting LEDs and turning LEDs on and off and just playing with like that.
Yep.
So when I got this device about a year ago, I'm like, okay, I've never worked with a PLC. I'm not an industrial engineer or anything like that, but I know how to turn an LED on and off, right? So within about, I'd say 10 minutes, I was able to turn these relays on and off. And here it's the same thing as turning a light, an LED on and off. But this device, a PLC, is usually controlling some kind of heavy machinery, some kind of motor. So the takeaway there is, through my basic experience of using the Arduino IDE, I can use that same knowledge to program a PLC, and I'm not an industrial engineer by any means.
So entry point with Arduino is very, very easy.
Yes.
Because the whole point is they're designed easy access.
Yes.
Go and play, go and understand, go and invent something. But then once you've got it and you've got that,
Right.
then it's very easy to jump into an industrial environment.
Exactly.
Because it's just the same. It's not
It's the
going to
same.
get any more complicated.
It shouldn't. It's just my knowledge, with the IDE that Arduino provides, it's very easy to get started and to just kind of grow from there.
Excellent.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much for that
Thank you, sir.
introduction.
Yep.
There we go.
Thank you.